Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. If you would like to support me or the channel in any way, you can do so by liking this video and subbing to the channel. Let's talk bodybuilding. So there isn't a whole lot going on in bodybuilding right now, but Justin Rodriguez name has been coming up a lot. And make sure when you guys pronounce his last name, you roll those R's. But I wanted to take a look at Justin's 2021 season because he actually competed in 4 competitions, 3 of the biggest competitions in the world actually, and then the Indy Pro, which was the first competition. Well, starting with the Indy Pro, Justin Rodriguez did battle with Mokamek LA Mom, Dorian Haywood, Blessing Awodabu, and Morgan Asti. I believe Mokamek took second and Blessing Awodabu took third. And I'm pretty sure you guys know this wasn't too stacked of a lineup, but I'm pretty sure everyone outside of Justin, they are going to be a lot better this year, and they are going to get closer and closer to winning pro shows, in my opinion. But to me, this was the best Justin Rodriguez of the season. This was at the Indy Pro. Oh my God, man, the conditioning, the dryness is just on a whole nother level. And out of the 4 short shows he did this year, as I stated, this was my favorite show. So I'm wondering if Justin is a guy that gets better as the season progresses or not. This is my first season really watching him and seeing, but in my opinion, it doesn't seem like he improved over the season. And that isn't a knock on him. Some people, it's harder for them to peak multiple times a year. Hunter said he wants to just do the Mr. Olympia every year because Hunter trying to nail his peak multiple times usually doesn't happen. But if this Justin Rodriguez would have shown up in some of the other competitions, I feel like he would have placed higher. And I do believe the Indy Pro was Justin's first pro win. And then Justin went on to the New York Pro where he did battle with Nick Walker. Now, when I was actually watching the New York Pro, it was actually pretty close to me. I wasn't sure who was going to win. Now, once I took a look back at it, it was more clear-cut that Nick was the winner, but I'm not sure. Maybe I like Justin's flow a lot, or maybe because I knew that Justin was a top 6 Olympian, I figured that he may be able to pass Nick, but especially in the New York Pro, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but Justin had a problem opening up his lats and some of his back poses. It ended up not happening again, so maybe it was just a cramp or something. But this was an amazing package that Justin Rodriguez brought to the New York Pro. And once again, the New York Pro wasn't a stacked lineup. And kind of on a rant here, I'm hoping that the New York Pro can get back to the prestige that it was, such as like when it was the Night of Champions. The New York Pro is technically the 3rd biggest show in bodybuilding outside the Mr. Olympia and Arnold Classic, man. And this lineup just wasn't too deep outside the top 2 in all honesty. But this was an amazing package, as you guys can see. I don't believe he was as good as Indy. I believe Justin was close, but still I believe he was a little drier in Indy, maybe even a little fuller. But placing second to Nick Walker, I mean, it's not a bad thing. But at this point, Nick hadn't won the Arnold Classic yet. Nick hadn't just fully established himself. And honestly, when Justin took that second place to him, it actually hurt. And I seen it because Justin is a New York native. So, you know, for the New York guys, they always want to win that New York Pro. And then Justin went on to compete in the Arnold Classic where he ended up taking 4th in this lineup versus Nick Walker, Ian Valliere, and Steve Kuglo. Justin Rodriguez beat out Sergio Oliva Jr., who I believe I had winning the Arnold Classic. He also beat out Akeem Williams as well. So those are 2 very notable people, Sergio Oliva Jr. and Akeem Williams. Akeem Williams, I've definitely heard talks of him becoming Mr. Olympia, but Sergio, I haven't necessarily heard anyone said Sergio has the potential to be Mr. Olympia, but Sergio is definitely a top 6 Olympian. So Justin Rodriguez has beaten both of those guys, and Justin actually placed ahead of Akeem again at the Mr. Olympia. So does that solidify Justin as a potential top 6 Olympian? But the package that he brought to the Arnold Classic was amazing, man. And if you guys watch the channel leading up to the show, Justin is a guy I talk about a lot because he was one of the only one putting out physique updates. So pretty much every video I was putting out as a news video, I was putting out an update of Justin Rodriguez. But I was very surprised that he took 4th in his lineup. Like I said, beating out Sergio, beating out Akeem. I had faith in Justin, man, but I wasn't sure if he was going to show up like that. And he was actually pretty decently conditioned here. I do believe Justin has started to blow out his lines a little bit, in all honesty. But if he can keep his midsection in check, he would definitely be good. And at the last show of the year, Justin placed 8th at the Mr. Olympia competition. And actually taking a second look at this was actually a pretty good package. His conditioning looked like it was pretty close to Indy. But if you guys can see in the midsection, just sometimes Seems like his midsection looks a little weird, maybe be protruding. Maybe his carbing up process, he usually carbs up a little bit too much. But if Justin's just able to keep his midsection in check, man, because one of his main things that has him placing ahead of people, in my opinion, is his structure. And his midsection is definitely, it matters a lot in the structure and the flow. As we seen with Phil Heath, the midsection is the center of your physique. So you can have everything else, but if the midsection is off, it can honestly throw off your whole physique. But in conclusion, Justin Rodriguez, amazing bodybuilder. It's gonna be hard for me to see him moving up because there are so many other guys such as Ian Valliere, Nick Walker, Hunter Labrada, Heidi Chupin. These are gonna be some very tough guys for Justin to beat. But in all honesty, if Justin just keeps coming in condition, and I honestly believe Justin needs to bring a next level condition. I believe he can still be more conditioned than this. If we can see a full Justin that's just peeled to the bone, he can definitely do some damage. And even though, as I said, there's a lot of guys ahead of him, Dexter Jackson just constantly came in condition and just constantly brought great packages and just ended up catching guys slipping. So you never know, man. Definitely, if any of these guys slip up, Justin Rodriguez could pass by. But I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video, man. Like, comment, and sub. Justin Rodriguez. I'm out.